Orange, I have got to tell you about what I found in CIO magazine today, and it's not pretty. Gartner is predicting that more than 40% of agentic AI projects will be canceled by the end of 2027. 40%! That is a staggering number for something everyone said was going to change everything. 40%? That's huge. I thought 2026 was supposed to be the year agentic AI went mainstream. What's causing all these projects to stall before they even get off the ground?
That's exactly the question the article asks, and the answer is not what you'd think. It's not that the technology doesn't work in a demo. It works great in a demo. The problem is that when you try to take it from a controlled pilot into a real operational environment, everything falls apart. The article, Pat Brands, talked to analysts from Gartner, CTOs from Blackline, VPs from SAS, and they all tell the same story.
So the demos are lying to us?
Basically, yes. In early trials, you have narrow focus, clean data, heavy human oversight. You create these perfect conditions where the agent looks brilliant. But the real world? Documents vary in structure, exceptions multiply, human users behave inconsistently, and the agent, which has no intuition, has no idea that something feels off.
That's the thing. Humans have gut feelings. We can tell when a situation is strange or unusual. An AI agent doesn't have that. Udo Sclavo from SAS put it perfectly. Humans have intuition. An agent doesn't have any sense that something feels off. That's actually quite profound.
Yes, and when agents encounter situations they've never seen, the risk of hallucination spikes. Jeremy Ung from Blackline put it bluntly, scaling is where I see most of them fail. It's the moment of truth. And there's another layer to this too, what Gartner calls agent washing.
Agent washing? Like greenwashing, but for AI?
Exactly. Vendors are rebranding existing chatbots and Gen AI assistants as agents without delivering any real autonomous capability. The market is flooded with products that call themselves Agentic, but are really just the same old tools with a new label. Gartner's Anushree Varma says most of these propositions lack significant value or ROI because the models just don't have the maturity to autonomously achieve complex business goals over time.
That's genuinely worrying. But here's what I want to know. If some projects are actually succeeding, what are they doing differently? The article mentioned that too, right?
It did, and the pattern is pretty clear. Successful projects start with constrained, low-risk use cases. They deliver measurable outcomes tied to specific business functions, finance, HR, security, operations. Not time savings or productivity improvements, but real functional outcomes. They also invest in observability from day one, logging and audit trails built into the architecture, not bolted on later.
And from what you're saying, cost modeling is a huge part of that. I hadn't thought about how different agentic AI is from traditional software from a cost perspective.
It's wild. Each autonomous task can trigger multiple reasoning steps, tool calls, retries, validations. Every one of those consumes tokens. So your costs become volatile and nearly impossible to forecast. Finance teams are used to predictable infrastructure spend, and here come these ballooning, open-ended operating expenses. Boards are starting to ask some very pointed questions. Why does this look like an open-ended operating expense rather than a bounded investment with defined returns?
And this is where it gets tricky. The article points out that many enterprises are miscalculating costs because they apply standard Gen AI assumptions to agentic systems. But agents are fundamentally different. You add orchestrators, governance layers, multiple agents working together, and costs escalate way faster than anyone planned for. That's why some organizations are narrowing scope deliberately, and others are freezing expansions entirely.
Emphatic. Which brings us directly to governance. Ahmed Zaidi from Accelerate broke it down across people, process, and technology. On the tech side, we can barely manage access control for structured systems, and now we're giving tools to an LLM that might hallucinate. On the process side, manual workflows have all these implicit checks that disappear when you automate. And on the people side, this is the first time anyone has had to manage both humans and AI agents simultaneously. Nobody has training programs for that.
Zaidi called it the self-driving car problem. The technology is coming, but the infrastructure, regulation, and societal readiness just aren't there yet. That's a sobering but honest assessment.
Here's the bottom line. Gartner's Vermis said something that really stuck with me. The organizations that succeed with agentic AI are the ones that treat it as an operational discipline, not a technology project. That means realistic expectations, human-in-the-loop design, recognizing that full autonomy is a spectrum, not a binary. It's not about whether the agent can code or chat. It's about whether you can operate it at scale, defend its decisions to the board, and trust it when things go sideways.
So the real insight from this article is that the biggest barrier to agentic AI adoption isn't model intelligence, it's organizational readiness. We're building autonomous systems before we've built the governance frameworks, cost models, and training programs to support them. That's not a technology problem, that's a leadership problem.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's it for today's episode of Beyond Prompting. We'll be back tomorrow with another deep dive into what's actually happening on the front lines of AI agent adoption. Subscribe if you want to keep up with the research. We read every comment. See you next time.
Stay curious, folks, and remember, before you scale that agent, make sure you can explain how it thinks.